There is a great deal of confusion when it comes to manifesting a specific person. Some people say you can't have them, while others say that you can. Some say you cannot change them, while others have opposing views. If you are someone who is oscillating between these two perspectives, then this video is definitely for you. I will clarify the doubt by referring to the teachings of Neville Goddard. In Neville's book, The Law and Promise, Chapter 12, Attitudes, is dedicated to what you are seeking. This chapter answers the doubts of people who are manifesting their specific person. It says that imagining creates our reality, and when we remember another person as we have known him, we recreate him in that image, and the past image of him becomes his present image. To decode this statement, let me give you a very beautiful example. Let's say you had a friend in the past, and you had this amazing relationship with that person. You called them your best friend, and they showed up exactly as you remembered them. But in your imagination, you started looking at that friend differently. You imagined some fights, clashes, and differing opinions that caused this little mental voice of arguing with them. When this happened, you automatically changed the image of that person. Now that person is not your best friend but a friend who argues with you. You created this image of that person, and they are reflecting it back to you. If you don't change this image of him or her back to the best friend role, it will again be recreated in your physical experience. This is the major reason why some of your school friends don't talk to you anymore. You lost the common things that were holding you. The school was a common ground that held you. Then you chose something different for yourself. You got a graduate degree while your friend was doing some job or became an entrepreneur. Your imagination consisted of making new friends. Now, when you have to go out, you imagine hanging out with your new friends. As Neville told you, imagination creates reality, and this created your reality. Now, it is not bad to disconnect from people. I am just telling you how it works. In this chapter, there is a very beautiful story of a person who used their imagination to change someone's life. You have been told many times not to think badly of others. Well, there is a reason for that, and it is very simple. The reason is that as you do it, you are changing the present image of that person to a bad one. By doing so, you will now look at them differently, talk, act, or picture them differently, which will eventually create havoc in your life. So, whatever your specific person is doing right now, it is your imagination playing out. You are imagining them behaving differently towards you. If you change the story about them in your mind, they start reflecting differently in your physical reality. If your specific person is not in contact with you and you want to talk to them morning to night, then affirm that they are talking to me every day. They want to talk to me. They can't get enough of me. What's the harm in trying this? Instead of repeating internally that your specific person no longer wants you, just change that inner speech. Just change that inner story to the one that you want to experience. They don't want to hang out with you. Well, now say that they love to hang out with me, that they take me to romantic places, that we go on vacation every month, that they like traveling with me, that they enjoy my company, and that we go on movie dates every weekend. It is like people think we are living together. What's the harm in telling yourself this story in your mind? It doesn't cost you a penny to do so. In fact, it changes your mood, it changes your attitude, and attitude is everything. Everything depends upon our attitude towards ourselves. That which we will not affirm as true of ourselves will not develop in our lives. Also, your fixed attitudes about others reflect them back to you. The thing you mentally affirm about another gets transmitted to them, and they will present to you what you imagined about them in your mind's eye. This phenomenon can be explained in the following story, which you can read from Neville's book. This story is from a person who believes that imagination creates reality. This person visited Boston to attend school, and at that time he had a limited supply of money for his own needs. In the streets, he met a guy who was asking him for money for the food. Although he had this limited supply for his own needs, he gave this man the money from his pocket. After a few hours, the same man returned to him in a fully drunk state and asked for money again. This act of his made him furious, and from that day on, he took an oath not to give any money to any beggar. So, every time someone begged him for money, he would remember his promise and not give them any money, which made him feel guilty, and his body responded to this guilt. After a few years, this man was walking with his dog when a beggar appeared in front of him and asked for money for his food. He refused to help the beggar, and the beggar was kind and accepted his refusal. The beggar even complimented the dog and talked nicely to him. Again, this man felt guilty for not helping that guy, so now he knew that imagination creates reality, and he was attending Neville's lecture. So, he stopped right there and closed his eyes. He recreated that scene that he had experienced, and for a few moments, he imagined this man approaching him and starting the conversation by admiring the dog. After that, he had some conversation with him, and then that guy told him, "I don't like to ask you this, but I really need something to eat. I have a job that begins tomorrow morning, but I have been out of work, and tonight I am hungry." Then he continued this scene by giving him an imaginary $5 from his imaginary pocket. After doing this imaginary act, he started feeling all right. His guilt disappeared and his pain disappeared. Mind you, this person recreated the entire scene on the spot by just closing his eyes for a few moments. After 4 months, he was again walking his dog when the same man approached him and opened the conversation by admiring the dog. He said to him that you might not remember me, but I asked you for money a few months ago, and you kindly said no. If you had given me any money, I would still be asking for money. Instead, I got a job that very next morning, and now I am on my feet and have some self-respect again. Can you see how this simple, imaginal act changed another's life? You can do it too. It's not some theoretical thing but a practical one. You can perform the imaginary act right now. Right the wrongs, make these imaginary acts loving. Change the past that makes you feel guilty in your imagination. You don't have to feel guilty, just do the work today. With this, I hope something changes within you. Subscribe to watch more such videos. I will meet you with another golden nugget. Happy manifesting.